Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Burgess and I am from the Development and Communications Department here at the Central Library. Thank you for joining me for this webinar. Today you're going to learn about reserving meeting rooms in the LibCal system. The process is pretty intuitive and for most accounts, staff is excited to be using this new product. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to call me at 716-858-7189 or email me at burgessm@buffalolib.org. There is also a section of the intranet dedicated to the new SpringShare application. Just look for the box on the homepage of the intranet labeled LibCal Room Reserve and Calendar. We'll also be posting updates on this page when they become available. So again, you'll see on this page, here's your link to get into LibCal. But there's also a bunch of different support links to LibCal help guides on booking spaces, creating calendar events, and more. There are also general LibCal support links to guides that we at the library have put together for staff at Central and staff at other libraries. There's also a generic link to LibCal's help guide, and again, our information at the bottom here if you have any questions. Okay, so let's get started. Our first step is, of course, to log into LibCal. So from the intranet, I'm just going to click on this page, and it's going to open up my LibApps login. LibApps is just the branch of software that LibCal falls under, so don't get too confused if you see this. So I'm just going to start by logging in. If you're unsure of your login information, please ask your manager, your supervisor, your director, or give us a call and we can help you out. If you've lost your password, you can reset it. If you aren't sure which email you used, again, just give us a call and we'll be happy to help you out. Okay. I've now logged in. This is the dashboard that you'll see when you first log into SpringShare or LibCal. It has my list of upcoming events that I've put in the public calendar, some news, and some other news from LibApps and SpringShare. So now I'm going to show you how to book a space in LibCal. If you are booking a space, particularly if you're at the Central Library or if you're at another library that is using the Spaces module, you want to book your space first before putting an event on the public calendar. I can't stress that enough because you want to make sure it's really twofold. First, you want to make sure that that space is actually available for the event that you're planning. You'd hate to plan this training, put it in the public calendar, go through all that work, and then find out, whoops, there's actually no room available for my training. So you always want to start with spaces and book from there, and then from your space booking, you will create a calendar listing. So just keep that workflow in mind if you're using the Spaces module. So just like how for the calendar, we went up to the top and clicked on Calendars, we're now going to click on the tab that says Spaces. There are a couple different ways to add a booking, a space booking, that is what it is called here. But our first is through this exploring this booking grid here. So this shows me, this is for today and the next 2 days, if I scroll over. This shows me all the meeting rooms and spaces at the Central Library. If you're at a different library, you're going to want to check your library up here. But I'm going to stick to Central because for the large part, at least in the beginning, Central people are going to be the folks using this the absolute most. And you'll see that these are just my meeting rooms and spaces. I can also click this drop down here to show me information tables, exhibit spaces, tours, the reading park, the raw space behind the collections gallery, which you must get approval from the development office to use, an off-site event, or just an equipment-only request. So if you can't find the space that you're looking for, make sure that you're looking under the correct category. So I'm going to go back to my rooms and spaces, and it is showing me all of my availability for today in these rooms. You'll see that anything that's gray has been blocked out as booked with these little blue pieces on the end, and that is the padding time that has been set up for that event. So for instance, if I have this Imagine Buffalo series in the Ring of Knowledge from 12 to 1, you'll see there's a half hour of padding on either side. That's already preset and will automatically be added to your event. And that's for setup, takedown, cleanup, and just to make sure that my events aren't overlapping or stacked right on top of each other. So our first way to add a booking would be to find our date and time in this Booking Explorer. So let's say I want to add an event for December 27th. First, I want to go to my date. It takes a second to load, but it's going to show me all of my spaces and what's available. This is really great because you can see multiple spaces at once and see what's open and what's not. So maybe I want to hold my program in the West Room, but I'm not sure. Or maybe I'm thinking the Collections Gallery Conference Room or the Central Meeting Room. Here I can see all on one screen what is available on my date and time without having to go back into each individual room and look at its availability. And this is a really great thing and something that we're really excited about being able to do. Okay, so I can see that the Central Meeting Room is totally open on December 27th. So I'm going to make my booking. You want to find your start time in the booking grid and make sure you're on the correct line for the room you want to book, and just click on it. You'll see this pop-up comes up to add a booking. So it's got your start time and date. It's got your space already listed in there because you clicked right in the Booking Explorer on the space, and it automatically has set an end time. This is totally changeable. It's just an automatically set up piece of LibCal, but you can change it by clicking on it, and we can make it 10 a.m., we can make it 12 p.m., whatever you want to do. I'm going to make it 12 p.m. You can also book multiple spaces in the same category at one time. So, for instance, if I'm using the Central Meeting Room, the Kids Space, and the West Room, all I have to do is click Add Space and select whatever space I want to add. So let's say I want to add the Kids Space. And again, it's going to ask me for the end time because maybe I'm only using the Kids Space until 11 that day, but I'm really using the Central Meeting Room until noon. You can change the end time, but the start time is going to remain the same. And again, this is great if you're booking something like a job fair or a health fair or a class visit where you need to book multiple spaces at once. You can do that. You can book all of them at once. You don't have to go in and say, okay, I need the Central Meeting Room. Okay, I need the West Room. Okay, I need the Kids Space. You can, do it all at once, and it's super simple. So I've got my rooms booked here, or my rooms selected, and I just want to submit the times. This is where now I'm going to put in all of my information. So first I'm going to start with my name, my email address, and the title of my program. I can also click to send a confirmation email to myself saying that the space has been booked. Now I need to say what kind of equipment I want and how I want these rooms set up. So you want to click on this bar that says complete booking form questions. It says optional, but it's really not optional. If you do not complete this information, you will not have equipment set up in that room. You won't have chairs, you won't have tables, you won't have laptops, anything like that. So make sure when you are booking your space that you're completing the booking form questions. The booking form will look a little different for each time you book depending on what space or spaces you're booking. They all have the same information at the top here with the organization or library department, organization type, program description, contact name, and such. So if I was booking this for an outside group, this is where I would put that outside contacts information. And this will show up in the space booking. So if I or someone else has questions, they'll know who made that reservation and who does it belong to. This is where you want to put your information, not your supervisor's name, but really your information so that we know and so that people within your own department know or your own library know, well, hey, who booked this event? Who owns this event? And they'll know. So this is where now I will select my equipment. And again, this is where it's going to look a little different depending on what room or rooms you're booking. Here, because I selected the central meeting room and the kids space, it is asking me first the questions about the central meeting room, which is all of this. And then it's also asking me equipment and questions about the kids space. So make sure if you're booking multiple spaces that you're filling in all of this information for both rooms. So let's say for the central meeting room, I want a projector, I want 100 chairs, I want 25 tables, and I want it set up classroom style. I can also put in additional setup instructions such as add a table at the front of the room. I want to select if it's gallery exhibit related, and I want to say, is my expected attendance below the room's capacity of 100 people? And that's just important in keeping in mind how many people you're expecting for an event and making sure that your event is really going to fit in the space that you're booking. So, yes. Again, because I booked multiple spaces, it's also showing me the kids space. So, I want to say in the kids space that I need a projector, a laptop for internet, and let's say I want 15 chairs and 5 tables. Perfect. So I've got all my equipment set up for what I want in the central meeting room and the kids space. I'm ready to make my bookings. So I'm just going to scroll down here. My last option is to add an internal note if, I say that I'm bringing glitter or I need a trash can or something like that. I can add that in an internal note for myself or for anyone else who may see this reservation. If I'm ready to go ahead and add my booking, all I have to do is add booking. And you can see it has told me success. The reservations are listed below. It lists my rooms and my dates and times. If I now need to go back in and edit those reservations, all I need to do is find them on the Booking Explorer again. So I'm already at my date. There's my booking. All I have to do is click on it and then scroll down. So here is all the information, all the booking details that I made for this event. My time, my information, my setup information. If I need to change the room that this is in, I will just go down here and click on the room to edit that part of the booking. If I need to change the time or the date, I will click on the date or the time to edit that piece of the booking. And if I need to change the other information in this booking form, such as the equipment requirements, the setup, things like that, I'm actually going to go and click on my name. And you'll see it gives me then the option to edit those form details if I need to make a change. And then click Update Form Details down at the bottom. But if my event is all set, I'm now ready to create a calendar event listing from my booking. Now again, this is only something that you're going to do for public events. If you have booked a space for a library meeting or a meeting that's not open to the public, you're going to stop here because you've made your booking and you're all set. But if this is an event, my craft time, for instance, that I booked my spaces for, and now I need to add it to the public calendar, I can do that right here and now. And we recommend that you do, because this way it'll be added. You won't have to go back and think about it later, and you won't forget to add it to the public calendar. Because again, all public events should be on your calendar. So if I want to add an event now from this booking, all I have to do is go down here and click Create Event. So this is a great example of some of the caveats of LibCal that we're actually learning about. This is telling me right now that because I booked multiple spaces with different end times, I can't create an event from this listing. Because I booked the central meeting room until noon, but I only booked the kids space till 11. So I'm going to go in and change that just so I can show you guys what it is like to create an event from a booking. Okay, so I went in and updated my time. I went back to my booking, and now I hit Create Event. It's going to ask me what calendar to create the event on. You only have one option, so we're now going to click Create Event. And now it's the same as creating an event in the public calendar from any other way, except you'll notice that your date and your start time and your end time are already locked in. That information is being taken right from my space booking, so I don't need to change it. The other difference here is that it also already added my location, my rooms or room, because it's linked to those space bookings. You still need to select a branch, so you still need to say it's at Central Library, but it will automatically bring those rooms over that you booked. But again, still make sure you're adding the branch, because if someone is looking at the public calendar and filtering by room or by branch, your event will show up. But then if I go on there and select only Central Library events and you selected no branch, it's not going to show up if I'm looking at it on the public calendar. So other than that, it's really the same as adding an event in the other training that I just talked about, with adding event titles, descriptions, featured events, things like that. Really, the only difference is that you've already booked your space, so your start date, your start time, your end time, and your spaces are actually already listed. It's pretty simple, right? It's really intuitive and user-friendly. LibCal is updating things. They are making changes. If there's things that we figure out like we don't know how to do, they are willing to take that input. And it's been great so far. So let me just show you now the other way of adding a booking. So I'm going to go back into my Spaces module. So my first way was to click on a date or a time in the Event Explorer, the Booking Explorer here. The other way is to click this thing up here that says Add Booking. And that is how you can add a single booking or add a recurring booking. This is the only way to add a recurring booking. You can't click through the, you won't click through the Booking Explorer to add a recurring booking. You can add in a single booking, and the only difference is here you're going to have to add a space to your booking, because you didn't click in the Booking Explorer to automatically do that. So now you need to add a space to your booking. So you can click on that. And again, you'll see some spaces are blocked out because the system recognizes that those spaces are already booked. So it's not even giving you an option to add that space as your booking. Other than that, it is the same as adding a booking from the Booking Explorer that I just showed you. It's just that you need to add the space there. If we hit close and we want to add a recurring booking, this is again the only way that you would really add a recurring booking. You hit your start time, your end time, and your repeat pattern. Monthly, daily, weekly. And again, you need to add your space because we didn't already select it. It will, once you submit your times, tell you if there's any conflicts, if there's any dates or times that are not available, it will tell you there. because I didn't click a date, of course. See, and that's the nice thing. If I didn't put something in, it's going to tell me. It's going to say, hey, you have to give us an end time, an end date. And I'm going to say that it's every Tuesday. And now it's here, it's telling me, sorry, Central Meeting Room is not available on those times. So if I had any valid times, I could submit the valid times only. Or I will close and start over again with a different room, or select a different room or a different date, because now I know that my date and time that I was looking at just aren't available. So again, to book a space, make sure you're clicking on the correct category for what space you're looking at. Make sure you're clicking on the correct location if you're not at the Central Library. And remember that you can click through the Booking Explorer to create a space booking, or you can click the Add Booking Event button. Remember that if you're making a booking for a public event, that you can add a calendar listing right from that event list, right from that booking. All you have to do is click on your event in the Booking Explorer and hit that Create Event button again. And again, if you want to edit your booking, you just have to find it in the Booking Explorer and click on the event information. Click on your room if you're changing your room, your date and time if you're changing that, or your name if you need to change the other information in the booking form. So, I've now showed you how to book a space both ways. There are two different ways in the LibCal system. I've showed you how to edit an existing reservation and how to add a calendar event from a space booking. And again, adding a calendar event from a space booking is then the same as adding just a calendar event. You can add registration, add featured images, things like that through that same place. So now you've learned how to use spaces in LibCal to book a space. Again, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to give us a call at 716-858-7189. You can also email me at burgessm@buffalolib.org. Thank you so much for joining me today. And again, there is that section dedicated on the intranet right there on the front page to the new Spring Share applications. Just look for that box labeled LibCal Room Reserve and Calendar. Once you click on that, that's how you'll get into LibCal, find your LibCal support documentation, as well as the documents that we at the library have created for you. We will also update this page whenever there is an update to the system, whenever we've added something or changed something, because we are working constantly to improve the system. When there are suggestions made or questions of how do we do this, or can we do this, is it possible to make it look like this, we are taking all of that feedback into consideration. We're working with the LibCal team, and we're doing what we can. And we will continue to add and edit information here to notify you guys of those updates. We are really excited about spaces and calendar. The process, as I've shown you, is pretty intuitive, and everyone is really excited to be using this new product. So thank you again for joining me, and please feel free to contact us if you have any additional questions.